All right, it's Donovan and Dino on this Wednesday night, presented by Master Pizza. Alongside Jim Donovan, I'm Dave DeNatale. It's the opening night NBA edition of Donovan and Dino. And Jimmy, we'll get to the Cavs in a second. We want to remind everybody we are brought to you by Master Pizza. Download the Master Pizza app on your smartphone today and start earning pizza points from Master Pizza. Taste above all. As we do this right now, the Cavaliers are trailing by 17, unfortunately, in the second quarter in Orlando, 45-28.
They were down by like 2 at the end of the first quarter, weren't they?
It was a close game. But this is going to have when you start, your second unit faces another team's second unit and things like that. And the young team has to deal with a run against them for the first time. Stuff like this is going to happen, unfortunately, this year.
Yeah, I think that you have to buckle up here. I think that the forecasts are not cruel. I may be very accurate about this team. They're very young, new coach, totally new system. I mean, this is rebuilding from the ground up, and we're not far off the ground to get this thing going. So, it's a long, hard process, one that we've done before, and sometimes it can be, it can be sped up by the fact that the young players kind of get it, but there are so many young players with this team. They're going to have to get it as a group. But they have a guy that, he's been, it'll be interesting to see how he handles it. Night in and night out. I mean, even in college, and they're playing, over 30 games in college? This is 82.
This is, triple that, by the time everything's done.
He's going to have to deal with back-to-backs and all of this. This is all going to be very, very new.
Yeah, you're dealing with back-to-back. You're dealing with, in some of the cases, Cavs have 18, 19, 20-year-olds, but then you have, guys like Tristan Thompson, guys like Kevin Love. You've got veterans, and you've got to make sure you're taking care of them while taking care of the young players and handling what they need. And then, of course, the elephant in the room is, well, how long will guys like Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson be here?
Right.
Will there be a point where somebody makes an enticing enough offer that the Cavaliers are able to say, okay, we've got to continue accumulating assets.
Yeah. Well, it would be different. It would be a very, very interesting situation to see how that all goes because, Kevin Love can come out and continue to, and he does, and he comes out and he says he's happy, he's content here. But, how long? That can wear very, very thin if you're losing a lot of times, and I think they are predicted to have a very, very difficult year. And the same with Tristan Thompson. Kevin Love at least was on a bad team in Minnesota, for part of his career. But Tristan Thompson really hasn't, he hasn't tasted those. He got here when the going was pretty good.
Yeah, I think he had like a year and a half of the rough stuff, and then all of a sudden LeBron is here, and you're 2 years, and then LeBron's here, and everything changed. But you're right. Yeah, it's a lot different now.
Right, absolutely. I think it's something we just have to go through. If people are saying, can they get free agents? In the NBA world, probably not for a while. Not until a free agent takes a look at them and sees a viable opportunity for them to be on a winning program.
Right.
A free agent just isn't going to drop in here to save the franchise. These guys, not to slam them, but it's the way of the world. They want the easy way.
Right.
They want a made team, and they come in and they just kind of finish it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we do this tonight as you are wearing the tie that was given by, we mentioned this last night, Beth McLeod sent several members of the media and rounded yourself, Jay Crawford, and Nick Camino, and Bud Shaw here at 3 News were among the group that got Fred McLeod ties in honor of the late, great Cavs announcer. It's difficult tonight to watch a Cavs game and Fred's not with Austin. It's very difficult, but I love the fact you're wearing the tie.
Yeah, it's a perfect night to wear it on opening night, and Fred loved his ties. That's been written about and spoken about since his very untimely passing. His wife sent these out to various members of the media and other people connected with the organization. I want to thank her for the tie, and she kind of went brown and orange for me.
Yes.
That's the colors of the team for which I call the play-by-play. But Fred, really, you're right. It's a very jarring scene. Yeah. Good luck to John Michael. Good luck to Tim Alcorn.
Yeah.
The new broadcast, Tim on the radio. John Michael moving from radio to television with Austin Carr, and I'm sure Austin will be great with him.
Yes.
But it's a big adjustment for everybody.
Yeah, for all of us.
everybody, us as viewers and Cavs fans.
One other history note is thinking about the Cavaliers. You know, they're Saturday. They'll have the home opener this weekend, and it's really, even though they've played preseason games, they really will feel almost like a home opener because of the newly renovated Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Right.
I just realized it was the other day. It's like, it's been 25 years since the Cavaliers played at the Coliseum.
Oh.
I mean, now it's been 25. They're celebrating their 50th year this year, but it's been now 25 years since they've been in Gund Arena, Quicken Loans Arena, now of course Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I realized it's like, man, it's been 25 years since they last played at the old Coliseum, and it for a lot of us, if you're old enough, you remember what it was like to go to a game there. I'm going to be working on something with that, just as a teaser down the road here. If you loved the Cavs, it was a special place, especially in the 70s and 80s, even into the early 90s.
It was a beautiful place. It's jarring when you drive along 303 and you go past there and it's not even there.
Right.
I mean, it's
all
down.
fields again.
It's a field. With a great ice cream place right across. Country Made Ice Cream.
That's right.
I mean, just a superb ice cream place. And then, there were places like Whitey's that everybody would go to. Whitey's is still there.
The Tavern of Richfield.
The Tavern of Richfield, which is being redone again. But it was, it obviously, and down in Peninsula, there were places that really perked up and survived and maybe thrived because of the Cavaliers. Now, my wife Cheryl loved it for a different reason, not a big sports fan. Loved it for all the great music concerts.
Oh, yeah.
That were held there. And I mean, they had it was a who's who.
Right.
I mean, Sinatra, you name them.
Yeah,
Sinatra was there.
was the first, that opened the place. I mean,
right.
The old Blue Eyes opened the place.
Right. So, I mean, it was a wonderful place. It held its age well. I always enjoy going in there. Sometimes the ride was a little twisty because of the weather out there. But, the original plan, as I understand it, I wasn't here when it went up, but the original plan was to capitalize on a place in between Akron and Cleveland. Whether or not that all worked out, I don't know. But when they were good, and especially when I got here, when they had Mark Price and Brad Doherty and Elo and all the Larry Nance and all those players, the really cool thing was that that place was just bedlam in there,
right?
And it was loud and it was really great.
Yeah. So, did you attend Force games there too?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it was the loudest during the building, maybe except for like a Springsteen concert. I think it was the loudest for a Cavs playoff game. But other than that, I think the Force. I think the Force, and maybe into the crunch era, but especially when the Force.
Yeah.
I think those were some of the most passionate fans.
Oh, they were. And on a Saturday night, I mean, they would put 18, 19, 20,000 in there, for a game. So it was great. I mean, indoor soccer was new to me coming from New England. I mean, it wasn't very big back there, but it was really a great situation. And the Wolsteins did a wonderful job marketing that. They really did, because it was like a mom and pop type of situation. So the Force was a great part of it too. You're right. It was really good. But when Michael Jordan would come in with the Bulls, or when Larry Bird, McHale, and Parrish would come in with the Celtics, and play those Cavalier teams, that place was really great.
All right, Browns getting ready to deal with the Patriots on Sunday. Back at practice today, and I feel like maybe we could start talking about football after like a week and a half of bye-week stuff and off the field stuff. Maybe we could talk about football and a very good Patriot team. And it's funny. So much of with New England is Brady and everything, but the Patriots defense, Jimmy, is what really stands out to me. What they're doing right now.
Well, they're amazing, and they've had 18 interceptions already this season. They get a lot of turnovers, but the one thing I would say, and I'm not slamming them at all because they're perfect so far. It's 7-0. But the one thing I would say is this, that the level of competition, hasn't been all that big for them. I mean, the Patriots have beaten the Jets twice. They've beaten Washington. They've beaten Miami. Not exactly teams that you're going to be see playing. I mean, the one in the postseason, the one team that gave them a tough game was Buffalo, up in Buffalo. I think that was a 16-10 game, and Buffalo had the ball driving in the fourth quarter and then turned it over late in the game. But other than that, I mean, that's the only thing that I would not caution people, but I would say They are great. They are, he has done an amazing job of somehow creating this defense, which is more like him, Bill Belichick, than having these prolific offenses. I mean, he was a defensive whiz with the Giants and had the greatest player a lot of people think of all time in Lawrence Taylor. But he's redone it now, really without a defensive coordinator.
Right.
He's immersed himself and his son and some other people into the defense. And, I mean, they are playing just tremendous football right now on the defensive side of the football, and they're a problem. There's no doubt. It's not necessarily sacks; it's turnovers.
Right.
What they're doing, and they're doing it with some former Browns, Danny Shelton, Jamie Collins, Jason McCourty. They're all in there.
And you know what's amazing to me? It's not like they have a bunch of Hall of Famers on this defense. And again, we'll get to Brady in a second. But, in the past, maybe Ty Law was there, Brewski was there. I'm not saying they're but good player. Ty Law is different. But, I mean, Vince Wilfork was a really good player. But they're doing it with just solid Patriots who know how to play the Belichick way.
Yeah. Well, they have some really good players. I mean, Dante Hightower's a great player. Kyle Van Noy is a great player. But what they do have is they have a great secondary.
Yes.
Led by, a lot of people think this particular guy, Stephon Gilmore, is playing the best at cornerback of any other cornerback in the NFL right now. And they're very deep in the secondary. I mean, a lot of teams, and take a look at the Browns a couple of weeks ago when they had the injuries to the two young corners. It's difficult to piecemeal a secondary together, and it can leave you in a very, very desperate situation because you have no defense in the back. And the Patriots aren't like that. I mean, they're really strong in the secondary. I mean, they have like 8 strong in the secondary.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
It's an interesting way he's built it. He builds his defenses, and he usually has done this. He builds them from the back forward. So you talk about when he had Rodney Harrison, he had Ty Law, he had Aqib Talib at one point. I mean, they built it.
Yeah. They had Revis for a time, and then Butler. I mean,
they build it from the back to the front.
Yeah.
That's how he does it.
Yeah. Now, the offensive side, first thing is there will not be a Josh Gordon reunion, apparently, because unfortunately for Josh, he was put on the IR. But offensively, I watched them Monday night. I mean, I thought they were playing like they were going at about, in cruise control, about 50% of what they could do, and it was still good enough to put like 33 points on the board against the Jets because they can run the football. And again, Brady he knows where his guys are going to be, and they don't make mistakes.
No. The primary thing is they do love to run the football, though. That's what they want to do. That's their initiative in every game. They do it with about 4 or 5 running backs, too. I mean, they have Sony Michel, Nick Chubb's teammate at Georgia, and they have James White, who is he's a good runner, but he's an excellent receiver out of the backfield. They have Rex Burkhead. They have a kid by the name of Bolden in there. They have another back, Damian Williams, I think is his name, from Alabama, a rookie. And, he'll rotate through those guys, too. I mean, he gives them all a look. The thing that's driving him crazy right now for Bill Belichick, he loves to have a fullback. And his fullbacks are hurt. So he's been taking tight ends, and he's been signing people during a week and then bringing them in and seeing if they can play fullback. So he's brought back Ben Watson for like a third tour of duty with the Patriots, but he's lining them up. I mean, Ben is a tight end, but he lines them up in the backfield. He takes linebackers. I mean, remember, Mike Vrabel played a lot of fullback for the Patriots and would catch touchdown passes in the red zone, and he was a true linebacker for the Patriots. So, I mean, he's amazing what he can do. I mean, he really is. His mind he's 5 steps ahead of the league, and that's no slam on Freddie Kitchens or anybody. He's just, Bill Belichick is 5 steps ahead.
Oh, that's the same. It's his top disciple from his time here in Cleveland. Nick Saban is like that in college football. You get the feeling, although Clemson is, and Ohio State and some other teams are there, but you just get the feeling Saban is ahead of everybody. Belichick, the game hasn't come close to passing Bill Belichick by, despite the fact he's been in New England since 2000 or 2001 or whatever. I mean, that's crazy, and it's Belichick, it's Brady, and it's let's go win games. The difficult thing will be, now you have a real
understanding of why they went out and made the trade with the Falcons to get Mohamed Sanu,
Yes.
the wide receiver, and gave up a second-round draft choice to do it because he realizes this is a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
And he probably knew at the time that Josh Gordon was needing to go on IR. And they have been hurt at wide receiver because of that. Their top draft choice has been hurt, N'Keal Harry. And N'Keal Harry has been injured. He's going to be eligible to come back, I think, in a week or two. Certainly, definitely 2, if not maybe next week. But he's not ready to go. Edelman's been hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been playing, but he's playing with a chest injury, and that's painful. And, we'll see what he does. But Brady's still very, very tough to defend. Very tough to defend. He gets rid of the ball. I don't know if the Browns are going to be able to sack him. I really don't.
It's so
a different,
it's so
and
tough.
because of that, you say, well, is Myles Garrett playing well? There are other ways you're going to have to do it, though.
Yeah. I always like to ask on Wednesdays because, of course, Wednesday you and Bernie Kosar are together for your Sirius radio show. Did Bernie what were his big pearls of wisdom for us to look forward to for Sunday?
He feels that the zero blitz that was prevalent in the game on Monday night by the Jets when they went right at Sam Darnold, he feels that you probably won't see that in the game on Sunday, that's not the Belichick way to consistently do it.
Right.
He is game specific, and he said that he changes his game plan according to who he's playing, and he'll do that every week, and he'll throw in a different wrinkle. He feels that priority number 1 for them defensively will be to shut down Nick Chubb. And then, and if they can do that, they cut off a lot of things that the Browns can do, and they put them in difficult situations in down and distance. And, of course, that's when Mayfield has thrown the picks because the Browns have played behind the chain so long. The other thing is, so he feels that because the Browns saw the zero blitz a lot on Monday night, there's a good chance they won't see it this Sunday. But it will be something else.
Right.
And it will be disguised. And he feels that you always have to look to, rather than the middle linebacker. If you always hear when the networks have the mics up really close to the quarterbacks, not the Sam Darnold
one, no.
But when they have the parabolic mics up close and they're going, 52 is the mic, 52 is the mic. Bernie feels that really you have to really identify the safeties for the Patriots. That's where all the action happens. And if you think about it, that's where it did happen. I mean, Rodney Harrison he really puts a lot of responsibility into his safeties. And that's why Devin McCourty is such an important player for them. And I left out Jason McCourty on defense.
Jason McCourty, Devin McCourty.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're right. You go from Lawyer Malloy to Rodney Harrison to the McCourtys, and I'm sure forgetting others. But, I mean,
Patrick Chung.
Yeah. He just finds the next guy that can handle it, puts him in, and excels, gives him the tools he needs to excel, and off they go.
Yeah, and he's resurrected guys' careers. They have gone there, and maybe a lot of people feel they have played their best football. But when he brings them in, he seems to get even better football out of them. Yeah. A guy like, there'll be a guy that plays for them on Sunday, Lawrence Guy. Lawrence Guy was he was an average, maybe a little bit better than average defender, defensive lineman on the edge for the Baltimore Ravens. Now that's a mouthful because the Ravens for years have played great football. But now he's gone to New England and he's really playing really well over there. Jabal Sheard. When he grabbed him from the Browns, and he grabbed him right away, loved the way he played, put him in that Patriot system, and Sheard became a huge defensive player and then cashed out and, hit another big deal. You take a look at people like, Randy Moss went there. And Randy Moss, was a different Randy Moss with the Patriots than he was with the Raiders or the Vikings even.
Corey Dillon.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that Patriot way.
Yeah.
Because those are the rules. You have to do things the Patriot way when you walk through the doors, or you'll go out the door very, very quickly. And he really doesn't care.
No. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it goes back. I always think with Belichick, from like the first day he was here in Cleveland in 1991, he didn't care who he cut, who he traded, including Bernie Kosar. It doesn't matter. It's like, hey, look, I'm trying to win here. And this is how we're going to do it. And I don't have time for tears because I'm cutting Webster Slaughter, or I'm not bringing back Frank Minifield.
Or Brian Brennan.
Brennan. I mean, and then, with the Patriots, when they didn't keep Lawyer Malloy, when they let Drew Bledsoe go, and on and on and on, it's like, hey, look, we're on to Cincinnati. In this case, now we're on to Cleveland.
Another good example is you would have thought that Willie McGinnis, who Belichick loved,
Yes.
okay, would play and end his career in New England.
Sure.
But again, when Belichick feels he's gotten everything out of you that he possibly can, you're expendable.
Right.
And Willie McGinnis then came to the Browns. He joined Romeo Crennel here. You know, Bernie Kosar told a great story today on the Sirius show. It's called Dog Pound Radio. And Bernie Kosar, of course, a lot of people feel, had a very fractured relationship with Bill Belichick. And they did, because he got cut, and there was a hullabaloo in Cleveland. I mean, the city was almost under martial law.
Yeah, pretty much,
when it happened, okay? Kosar said today he is so proud to have played for him, though.
Wow.
And through the years, they have, they've repaired their relationship. But he said, you know what? You only get so close with Bill Belichick because he's just so focused on the next game. You know, we're on to Cleveland.
Right.
We're on to Cleveland. That it's really difficult to really, there really isn't an inner circle with him. So coaches come and coaches go. And he just fills the next need. But his first win as a head coach in the NFL, of course, came as the Browns head coach against the Patriots. Against Dick McPherson, who had left Syracuse and became the head coach of the Patriots, and it was in Foxborough. 20-0 was the score. And Kosar could tell you every play that happened.
I'm sure he could.
Every play that happened. He goes, I hit Leroy Horde for a short one and Michael Jackson for a long one.
Bernie he remembers every play of every game. I still, by the way, and we're off past it, but I still think, had the Browns handled the Bernie situation better, I don't know if the move would have happened, and that's my belief. Because
the move of the team.
The move of the team.
Oh.
I don't know. Because the team's standing in Cleveland, and Art Modell's standing and Bill Belichick's standing, just took such a huge hit after the Bernie situation. I mean, they made the playoffs the following year, and they were predicted to maybe go to the Super Bowl in '95. But
they were picked to win the AFC.
At least win the AFC, and I never felt like there was that love of the Browns as before, and I can remember just. Like politicians would say, we all wish Mother Teresa ran the Browns. It would be a lot easier to support a new stadium. I mean, it's just, but that's for another to say. But I love the fact that you and Bernie are having these weekly shows, because to me, it allows fans to really see the game through his eyes.
We had Eric Metcalf as a guest today.
21.
And I had brought up to Metcalf the great game that he had against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Okay, and he had the 2 kick returns in the game. At the time of the second one, the Browns were losing. They were losing the whole day.
Yes.
It was a late afternoon game, beautiful late fall day. Dick Enberg on the call.
Yeah, national TV.
Okay, and they were on national TV because they were the prime game. Bill Cowher, a young head coach at that time of the Pittsburgh Steelers, could not beat the Browns. He hadn't beaten the Browns. And it looked like he was going to finally do it that day. Metcalf had hit one earlier. And if you remember, Kosar was on the bench.
Yes.
And Testaverde was in there at that point. And Testaverde had gotten hurt on a scramble run. So Kosar was going to come back in ready after Metcalf would catch the punt, get tackled down by the Steelers. He was ready to lead the team inside 2 minutes, and they were going to win the game. He was confident he was going to do it. Well, he didn't have to do it because Metcalf took it all the way. Metcalf tells the story that when he came over to the sideline, everybody was congratulating him, and Kosar went up and said, "Hey, you forgot something. I was supposed to win the game for us."
That was one of the last great moments at the old stadium, and that
was a great moment.
And it was a great moment. The great
called
Nev
it
Chandler on the radio,
Pandemonium Palace.
It was that. YouTube it. I'm telling you, it's still one of the most electrifying moments you'll ever see in the Cleveland Browns.
Well, and the last thing, and I know we're going to wrap it up here, but the last thing we'll never know is that, and we did a piece about this last year, just prior to the Super Bowl. Was Belichick on the cusp of doing in Cleveland what he has done now in New England? Because you're right. I mean, had the move not come in, the 95 season would not have been torched, right? But that just blew everything apart. But they had gone to the playoffs in 94. The only thing they weren't able to do, they had lost to the Steelers 3 times, twice during the regular season, and then in Pittsburgh in the playoffs. So if they had beaten Pittsburgh, okay, God knows what they would have done.
Right.
Here's the deal, though. Tony Grossi who I admire a great deal and
As do I.
was really right in the trenches there, said no, he wouldn't have done it because he didn't have the quarterback. He kept trying to find a quarterback. Testaverde, okay, Eric Zier, guys like that. Mike Tomczak was here.
Mark Rippon
was here, and they weren't doing it the right way. He could not find the quarterback. And it wasn't until Bledsoe went down with that spleen injury against the New York Jets and Tom Brady came in that it all fell into place.
Isn't that amazing? He needed a quarter. He needed the right.
He had everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a tough defense.
Yeah.
And then he was building with the right way because remember, I mean, they really were starting to build a pretty good defense again. Bernie said that they had started to improve the offensive line, which they didn't do when Belichick first got there. And, they had the right thing going, but he didn't have the quarterback.
Yeah. Not the one he... Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned, Belichick liking to build like a defense from the back end to the front. One of the first guys he drafted, Eric Turner.
Eric Turner, absolutely.
Great safety.
Yeah, great safety.
That tells you. Some things change and evolve. Some things... stay the same.
Yeah.
That's great. Good stuff, Jimmy, as always, my
friend.
Back with you tomorrow. We'll get you ready for the Browns and Patriots and a lot more. Donovan and Dino, presented by Master Pizza. Thanks for watching here on 3 News Facebook Live and on YouTube.